Okay, good morning. I'm going to do a very real episode where the first thing I do is talk in the morning. I think it is a true representation of how I'm talking, of how I'm speaking, and especially when it's zero warm up, especially throughout the entire day. So, the first thing that I'll be reading today is this article. How do I crave connection when all I have to offer is silence? The time now is 7:45. Let's go. A confession from someone who never confesses on craving what I keep refusing. I learned early to sort people into categories, not out of coldness, or at least that is what I told myself, but out of precision. Classmates, benchmates, schoolmates, colleagues, acquaintances, each word a clean container, each person slotted into their rightful place. By the time most people my age were collecting friends the way children collect things they don't know what to do with, I had built a taxonomy instead. Neat, organized, honest, I thought. By that logic, I have never had a friend. I have no friends. I have a very organized loneliness. There was someone I knew since the fifth grade. He was the kind of person who talked freely about his feelings, his fears, the way certain days sat heavy on him. I liked listening. I was good at it. People often told me so, as if my silence were a gift I was giving them rather than a wall I was hiding behind. He would pour himself into our conversations and wait, and wait, and wait. The way you wait after you have said something important for an echo. What he got was the sound of a room that absorbs everything and gives nothing back. Silence, I have learned, is the most dishonest gift you can give someone. He used to call me one of his best friends. I could never say the same. Not because he wasn't close, he was the closest, by a significant margin, if at all, but my definition wouldn't stretch that far, and I refused to lie about the distance. He felt it. He called it a power imbalance. He was right. There he was, open and offering, and there I was, above it all, or at least appearing that way. He asked me once to open up. I didn't, couldn't, wouldn't. The line between those three words have always been blurry for me. He felt comfortable around me and miserable about it. That combination is something I have done to people more than once. I have cut them loose before they could name what I was doing to them or before I had to watch it happen. Then there is the boy I have known since second grade. Ours is a different thing. We don't demand texts from each other, we don't call to check in, don't text without reason, don't perform the ritual of friendship that everyone else seems to find necessary. On the surface, it looks dead. From the inside, it is the most alive thing I have. Quiet in the way still water is quiet, not empty. When we meet fully. There is an unspoken understanding between us I have never been able to manufacture with anyone else. Maybe it works because it does not ask me to be anything. Maybe the absence of demand is the only door I know how to walk through. There was also a girl. She was the nicest person I have known. Nicest in the active sense, not the adjective people use when they can't think of anything else to say. She made calls, she sent texts. She showed up in the small ways that accumulate into something large over time. I received it all and returned very little. I was present, but not available. There, but behind glass. I still think I was the problem. It is the one conclusion I have not found a way to intellectualize out of. Recently, the fifth grade classmate said what he always felt, that he tells me everything and I tell him nothing. He said I probably have trust issues. I sat with that for a moment, then I disagreed. Trust issues imply a history of betrayal. They imply you gave someone the keys and they burned the house down. But I have never given anyone the keys. I have never opened up enough to feel betrayal, even a chance. So how can trust be the diagnosis? If the wound never existed, you cannot blame the scar. You cannot accuse a locked door of being broken. What it is, I think, is something more layered and less dramatic than trust. I don't open up because some part of me does not want the attention. There is something uncomfortable about being the subject, about people leaning in, asking follow-up questions, holding a story in their hands. I am far more comfortable as the one holding. Except that isn't entirely true, because I do want the attention sometimes. What I don't want are the consequences. The possibility that someone listens closely and then uses what they heard, not maliciously necessarily, but carelessly. That my story floats away from them like a loose thread they forget they are holding. That I said something real and it landed nowhere. Then there is the question of dynamics. Every relationship I have settles into a particular shape, and I grew comfortable with that shape. Opening up feels like renovating a room someone already lives in. Disruptive, potentially permanent. I'm not sure the version of me that shares is one the people around me have made space for. And I am not sure I want to find out. There is also this thing. I do not want to be seen through the eyes of sympathy. Empathy at a certain depth starts to look like pity. And pity requires weakness. And I have spent a long time making sure weakness is not the first thing visible when someone looks at me. Maybe not even the second. And underneath all of it, the one that feels most true and most embarrassing is the weight. My personal things are heavy, not in a way I cannot carry, but in a way that feels unfair to hand to someone else. What if they aren't built for it? What if I watch them buckle? The heaviest lift I have ever done is carrying myself. At least I know I won't drop it. I am not afraid of people knowing me. I'm afraid of what knowing me costs them. So I do not share. And I have gotten very good at not sharing. Good enough that the loneliness has had to find creative ways to remind me it is still there. I have predicted things before they happened, processed things before I could feel them, intellectualized until the feeling dialed into something I could set on a shelf and not look at directly. Some people call this emotional intelligence. I think it is closer to a coping mechanism I forgot to stop using. I am emotional, deeply. I know that, but I have arranged my emotions so they do not interfere with anything else. They live in a separate room. I check on them occasionally. The only place I have never had to perform self-sufficiency is in spirituality. There, I am not wary of being seen. Something above me, call it what you want, has never asked me to explain the walls, never felt frustrated by my silence, never needed the dynamics to stay a certain way. It has simply shown up when things become too much. That is, I think, my version of intimacy, a relationship that asks nothing of me but presence. Being self-contained is pretty much how I have been. I have not depended on anyone emotionally, and I do not think I have lost anything sharp because of it. But I would be lying if I said I haven't lost anything at all. The problem with being your own anchor is that you also become your own ocean. I have mastered the art of being someone people feel close to without ever letting them be close. Here is what I cannot think my way out of. I crave connection. Real, deep, seen by someone connection. I feel it the way you feel a hunger your logic tells you shouldn't have. Embarrassingly, inconvenient, stubbornly there. And I do not know what to do with a craving I have no idea how to feed. I have been built, over years of careful construction, into someone who is brilliant in solitude and starving inside at the same time. I have no friends, really, just a sense of having them. The shape of closeness without the substance of it, like holding a word in your mouth whose meaning you have forgotten. How dare I crave connection when all I have to offer is silence? I don't know. I have sat with that question long enough to stop expecting an answer. Maybe the craving is not a failure. Maybe it is the one honest thing left, the part of me the walls forget to reach. Or maybe I am still just predicting and processing. I genuinely cannot tell anymore. While this is not something that is fully relatable to me, I think that this does explain or is a reflection of someone's mind out there in the world. I think that one of the struggles here that this person is having, that is probably universal and relatable, is the fear of opening up to someone. Obviously, I think in this age and time where with the social media you want to show your perfect self to the entire world, and where your entire self-worth is validated on perfection, it can be hard to let someone in. Especially when you know that if you let someone in and they go around telling other people your secrets, your truths, and you get judged for that, I think that's a very big fear. So the question is, how do you let someone in without how do you let someone in, let them know who you are, and be comfortable with that? I think it takes time to learn how to get judged for that. It takes time to learn how to be critical. It takes time to learn how to do what to do, and in that process, I think people will just get better and better out of it. I think it's okay to crave connection when all you can offer is silence. I don't think that opening up is mutual. Like in that it's not exactly transactional where say some both parties have to open up equally. But at the end of the day, I think in order for a reciprocal relationship, it is important to eventually start opening up a little. And I think it can be in the smallest ways possible, which I am still trying to learn. I think it can be really just be opening up about the smallest things about your life. And I think that one thing I realized that the people who are interested actually are really interested in just the smallest things. They don't need to be big, they don't need to be your deepest thoughts, but they can really just be your everyday life and everyday tasks that, if that interests them, if you interest them, all these small little things will interest them as well. And I think that's the beauty of connection, that's the beauty of interest, and that's the beauty of curiosity. Okay, I'm heading off to the gym now, so 7:57, talked for about 13 minutes. I hope all of you have a good day. I hope you have a good day. Yeah, take some time to read an article, reflect, and yeah, here's a friend from across the world reaching out to you, telling you that today is going to be good. Go and get some connection, learn to talk, and hope you have a really nice day. See you, man. See you for tomorrow.